Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS. It's time for Owin's Field Report, sponsored by Les Schwab Tire Centers.
Now, interestingly enough, I really didn't expect to get very many reports yesterday, in particular from the Willamette, because it was certainly wet yesterday and windy, depending on where you were. But did get a few reports that were of really, really good fishing on the Willamette in those conditions, which really shouldn't surprise anybody, I guess, if you're willing to put yourself through that. you did pretty good. Quite a few fish caught. Tributaries, though, are ones that I would say for a lot of folks to pay a little bit of attention to, and I mean right now and maybe tomorrow, because some of the tributaries around here did bounce up yesterday and are turning over. I mean, if you want to talk prime time, you got yourself a raft, a pontoon, something similar, or you just want to go bank fish some spots. The next day or two on tributaries, again, it really doesn't matter which one it is. If they've got springers that are showing up or summer steelhead that should be in there, you've got about a 48-hour window of really good opportunity. And I say that just because, well, maybe it's obvious, but with that rain, those fish will move up into the upper parts of whatever system they're in. And if they're down in tidewater-ish areas, right, if it's off the main stem of the Columbia or the Willamette, down in the lower systems, it will get them to move into the river, or at the very least move through the system. That little bit of stink, especially this time of year, makes a huge difference. So a couple more opportunities next day or two for a little bit better conditions and maybe some more fish moving around in some of those locations. But as we go forward into this upcoming week, the fishing on the Willamette probably going to hold out pretty good. That's really going to be your best option if you're still targeting springers. I know a lot of us have started to think a lot about upcoming opportunities. Sockeye opens up today on the Columbia. Not a huge draw there right now with only a one fish retention limit, but certainly some options that are going to be out there. If you do get that chance, though, take some photos, utilize that Fox 12 app, and send them over because we want to show you off. Fish counts, I would be willing to bet, I haven't looked at it this morning. Yep, they didn't. They haven't updated the Willamette for days. You'll probably start to see that change, hopefully, just to give us an idea. Not great numbers there, unfortunately, but it just is later and later and later, as we all know. Taking a look at Bonneville, numbers yesterday, 1754. We're going to show you the 10-year here in a second. Not yet, but not entirely interesting, but it is a bit, so we're going to show you that. Shad numbers are starting to wind down with 2,000,006. God, every year I say the same thing. I'd sure love to see that for Chinook. Wouldn't that be cool? I guarantee you they'd still kick us off the river. That's a whole other story. Sockeye, as we showed in that 10-year yesterday, it is well behind the 10-year average and, of course, way behind from last year's numbers. But when you're talking about summer Chinook, we'll take a look at the 10-year average there. That would be your cue, Ryan, to go ahead and throw that up there. Well, it was there. You just got to be super fast. This is when I can put the pressure on the producer in the back. There it is. There it is, somewhere. Okay, so here's your 10-year average. This is for summer Chinook. Now, just make sure that everybody's well aware here. They start counting them on the fish counts the 1st of June. They don't actually become technically, and then they become magically summer Chinook from springers on the 15th. But this goes all the way back to the 1st. And you can see here that the 10-year average is a slightly better than last year, which is a good thing. But when you're talking about the 10-year, it is quite a ways behind. Again, interesting only because it is better than last year. A little concerning, again, when you're referring to the 10-year overall, but not bad. And the reason why I wanted to show this is that there's been several questions about, well, hey, are we going to get back out there sometime between now and the 1st of August when it's supposed to open back up? Nobody knows that. They don't know that. It's going to take quite a bit of fish to go over the dam in order for something to really trip their triggers on talking about more opportunity. But we'll find out more as we go throughout the rest of June and get into July, of course. River levels, much like yesterday, it is showing a slight bounce after getting a little bit of water here yesterday, but nothing really to get too excited about. Although a lot of the fish that are in the lower system, you'll probably start seeing make a move up the main stem of the Willamette, getting closer to the dam. This is the same situation that you'll find on a tributary on a much larger system. Those fish will move after they get that little bit of smell coming down the river. So you might start seeing some more success as you get closer to the falls there in Oregon City. Columbia, Bonneville, they're not really messing with it much right now, which is pretty much normal. Oh, I guess I would throw another report in there. If you're planning on maybe going out to the Columbia to chase shad up just below Bonneville Dam, Shad Rack, that area, fishing's been really, really good, as you can expect with, roughly 100,000, kind of moving through the system at a time. So interesting if you can get out there, make some bait. Been plenty of people that have been doing that. Procure, send Jason an email, jason@procure.com. Enter yourself in to win that prize pack. Hopefully you can. We got a lot of opportunities coming up as we work through 2025 with summer steelhead sockeye now on the table as well. Hopefully on the table literally for all of you out there. And then, of course, fall chinook, working our way through the remainder of our summertime. So hopefully all that pans out and works out well. But weather plays a big role in all that stuff, and Peyton Major is our meteorologist here at Outdoor GPS. And yesterday, you were pretty correct. It rained a lot. Did we make it to an inch of rain overall in the last couple of days?
Yeah, we did. Nearly 2 in Portland, which is pretty crazy. Yeah, especially for like a mid to late June day. This is supposed to be the start of our dry season, so this is maybe what we would see in the winter in the middle of wet season. But yeah, you can take a look at these totals. This is just over the last 2 days, so Friday, Saturday combined. I do know that Troutdale sensor is a little off, but most of the time, most people got about half an inch to an inch. Really exciting. Here's that low now. It's right over the Rockies. It's very weak, and we're not going to really deal with it much anymore. Maybe a little sprinkle in eastern Oregon, but I've decreased our rain chances as we go a little closer to the middle part of the day, and then the second half of the day is going to be nice. Actually, highs into the 70s with mainly sunny conditions by the time the afternoon rolls around. A few little green dots there indicating a drizzle, but yeah, you can see there a lot sunnier and clearer by the afternoon. So we're going to get rid of that low. It's going to go up into Canada, and we're going to see now an area of high pressure forming offshore. Now, what's happening with this is it is going to get a little closer to home probably early this week, and we'll see some nice warm temperatures. But what we want to see with the ridge is a big bubble here, almost a big arch. And what's happening, it's kind of flattening out. We're seeing these very west to east lines forming overhead. And so we've actually decreased temperatures just slightly Monday, Tuesday because of that. If we have that big bubble, then we probably have more upper 80s to low 90s, but that's just not happening. And then the second half of the week, we are still kind of in that weird stagnant zonal flow, we call it, when it's flat. And so I do think we might actually get a little cooler down into the 70s, and that will introduce some cloud coverage, some moisture, maybe even a sprinkle or two Wednesday through Friday. I was looking at maybe some possible rain totals, and it's not looking impressive. If we got a sprinkle, I doubt it'd be measurable. This model's spitting out maybe a few hundredths of an inch for areas in northwestern Oregon. If you're anywhere that's not in northwestern Oregon, you're likely going to stay fully dry through the 7-day. And the next weekend, I'm proud to say it's going to be much warmer than the 50s we saw yesterday, back into the 80s for the final days of June.
Well, I don't mind the rain at all. Hopefully we can continue to do that every couple of weeks, get 2 or 3 days of rain. That'd be excellent. That would be great. Peyton, as always, thank you very much. Have a great week, okay? We're going to cut to a break, everyone. When we come back, we got a clip for you from Onyx Off-Road. Then we got the guys here from Edge, 2 ambassadors, Sean Ball and Ben Hill. They've been hanging out nice and quiet for us here the last couple of segments, so we're going to get into that conversation as well in just a little bit, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more Outdoor GPS in just a minute.
Outdoor GPS is brought to you by P-Line, because we fish, by Hawken Fishing, perfection in fishing gear, and by Haxton's Canvas and Upholstery, the trusted name of the Pacific Northwest.